Cuddle your knees into your chest. Let's start lying down. Given that we started sitting down, it's quite nice to... It's like we've just got out of bed. Or maybe we haven't yet, and we're going to have a little mobilise on the bed. So when you've cuddled your knees in and out and you've rocked them around and you've just connected your spine and your body to the floor, letting the weight of your body sink into the floor. Then drawing your left leg in, let's take your right one down. And you're going to push out through your right heel and give your left knee a little bounce, if it will, to let the pelvis free up on that left side and to hold the stretch a little bit across the right hip. Nothing major, just opening the front of the body out on that right side. And then circle the left foot around. The one that's in the air is going to have a mobilise there too. And this left leg, you're going to pass it from left to right and draw it in and across your body. And explore the hip. Feel a stretch in your lower back and your inner thigh. Feeling the weight of your head being supported by the cushion or the floor. And then unfurl that leg and take it up into a hamstring stretch. Now, normally we would just hold this still, wouldn't we? I want you, rather than having your fingers interlocked, I want you to have one hand above the other so that the pressure on your hamstring, your back of your thigh, is a bit more diffuse. And then see if you can straighten that leg up and almost press it into those hands. And an optional extra for you is to draw that knee in, bend it, and keep the bent leg as close to your body as you can. So we're forgetting the lower leg for the moment. We're pulling the thigh in as best we can. And then pull your heel down to your bottom and bounce it 2 or 3 times. There you go, bounce, bounce, bounce. And then without losing the gap or the connection between thigh and chest, start to straighten your leg out. So obviously it's a bigger stretch than just holding your leg away from you. And if your hips don't like it, just stay with a vertical kind of stretch. So we go bounce, 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 and then straighten the leg without the knee moving away. And again, bounce, 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 have a go. And I can't get straight, I can't get anywhere near straight, but bounce, 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 tighten your front thigh, go towards straight. And again, bounce, 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 tighten the front thigh, trying to keep the pressure on the hands diffuse. Once more, bounce, 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 and go towards being straight. Oh, very good, Elaine. Yours is almost straight. Look at you. And then release. Or bring both knees in, let them hang out wide. And now we're going to have a little rock from side to side. If you have your hog and you want to do this on your hog, you can. You can massage the crest of your buttocks. You would just lie on it with it horizontally and get the prickles going in your lower back. Yeah. So then we're going to swap sides again. If you've got a hog and you want to be on it, you can. Pulling your right knee in, or whichever one you didn't do last time, stretching your left leg away. Oh, that's good. Oh, push out through your heel. And then a little bounce, bounce, bounce of the knee. So we're back to just rocking the knee in and out. So not the hamstring stretch yet, Pauline, just a cuddle knee into chest at the moment. Yeah, lengthening out the other leg. Now you're going to pass this leg from left to right and massage across your lower back, get into the outer thigh a little bit and your bottom a little bit. It feels nice. You can have your eyes closed if you want, and you can just focus on the breathing and the movement. And then in the center, circle your ankle of this leg that's bent. Unfurl your leg, and you've got a choice. You can either keep it just straight up in the air, you could put a strap around it, a band around it, or just hold it, or Have your hands one above the other. Bring your bent leg in. See how close you can get your thigh on your chest. And then we go heel to bottom, heel to bottom, heel to bottom. Straighten the leg out. Oh my goodness. And again, bounce, bounce, bounce. That takes the stretch off. But then you tighten the quads, the front thigh, to get the leg as straight as you can. And again, bounce, bounce, bounce. Go towards being straight. And again, bounce, bounce, bounce. So you're firing up the hamstring. Woohoo! Twice more. Hamstring, 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 quad. And then back of leg, back of leg, back of leg fired up. And then front thigh fired up. Push out through both heels. My leg's trembling. It's got the judders. Woo. And bend that leg in, release it to the floor. And then if you're on a hog, take it out. Let's have your feet flat on the floor, knees pointing straight up. Find your neutral spine, your pubic bone, hip bones are level. You can either have your hands on here to check or relax and let your side shoulder blades tucked under. We're going to inhale. And then just feel the connection between your feet and the floor. Squeeze your thighs, your bottom, and tuck your pelvis under. So we're going to do a few pelvic tilts and releases. And when you release, I want you to go beyond neutral into an arch. So you're deliberately creating a big space behind your waist. Then we come back to level again. So you go from neutral spine to an imprint, back to neutral to extension. I'd like you to work with the breath. And just feel your way into this. Enjoy the ripple, the flow through your spine. Notice what's happening with your legs and your foot pressure. How your neck responds as a continuum of the spine. How the head moves on the top of the spine. It's really nice. And a couple more. Relaxing your shoulders and your arms. And then settling in the middle where your pelvis feels neutral and level. Take your arms wide at shoulder level. Now take your feet really wide. If you need to be cautious, anybody with new hips, then please, of course, do. Twist both knees to your left and let them hang. Turn your head the other way. So actually the back knee isn't even in line with your foot. It's not on your ankle. It's not knees together. It's just hanging. And because it's hanging in the air and it's behind the left foot, so if your back knee is hanging well away from the other leg, it can drop a bit lower. It cannot be restricted by the underneath leg, which is quite nice. For those of you that wish to, the top foot, so the one that you're leaning towards, lift it up and pop it on your knee. Now, maybe not Pauline, but if you want to, pop your ankle on that thigh. So your underneath leg is on top of now the top knee, if that makes sense. Giving you an extra little pull and a stretch through the waist and the lower back, and a deep breath in. Slide the foot off, lift one knee, lift the other knee, come back to the center, tuck your pelvis under 2 or 3 times, release the spine, and then feet wide, knees wide, we're going to twist the other way. Oh, that's good. Let your head turn away from your knees. Breathe into your belly here. This is an opportunity not to use your core, but to breathe into your belly to aid your digestion and help you switch off from any stress and strains. And if you want to, you lift the underneath foot up, you pop your ankle on your knee. It gives you the extra bit of pull through your waist and hip if it suits your body. Can you relax that leg? It's quite hard, isn't it? You put your ankle on your knee and you're sort of holding with your bottom leg. See if you can let it go floppy. Deep belly breath. One more deep belly breath. Slide the foot off, lift one knee, slowly lift the other knee, shuffle your feet back to the center so they're hip width apart, and bring your arms down by your side. So pelvis neutral, let's fire at the core now. We've switched it off and relaxed it. Inhale. Keep your plate of peas level and give me an alternating knee lift in your own time. Remembering ankle, knee, hip, shoulder in alignment on little tram lines, imaginary tram lines hip width apart. And tuning into the pace of your breath, to the stillness of your pelvis, to the softness of your ribs. Notice any tension you may be holding in your jaw, your face, your neck, and let it go. If you feel able to, lift your arms an inch off the floor with your palms up, your collarbones melting back, and a little grate being held just behind your armpit, opening the front of your body. And as you open the shoulder girdle, careful that the ribs don't brace or push upwards. Going at the pace of your breathing. So when the arms are only an inch in the air, it's actually quite hard work. You're now working your upper back and your shoulders and your chest. So if you are pulling your collarbones open and you're drawing your shoulder blades down to your pelvis, you've got, if you can now take your mind, your attention to the upper back, across the back of your shoulder blades, there's some squeeze going on, isn't there? It's not just heavy, floppy, relaxed. Your upper back is doing something. So you're working posturally in a really nice way, but it does get quite tiring. And then you're going to float one leg in, keep it there if you feel safe to. Take a breath in, pull your tummy down as you fold the second leg up, and then take your arms up and hug a tree. Now let your shoulders plop back. Can you feel your upper back is now switched off and it's all relaxed and gooey and floppy? And then take one arm over your head. Relax that arm to the floor or near the floor if you can, and then lift it. And then other arm over your head. So we're just starting with alternating arms. The feet are level with the floor, the shins are level with the floor. But what you're tuning into now is just that nice feeling of the shoulder blade wriggling around on the mat, of your chest relaxing open and the arms adding a nice mobilization to your shoulders. And then pause. And then if you're ready to, toe dip in the water. So you keep the leg bent, you pivot from the hip, and you exhale as you take your foot down, and inhale as you lift it up. Good. Nice. Exhale, inhale. Relax jaw and shoulders. And if you'd like to, opposite arm, opposite leg. Breathing out as the limbs lengthen, mindful that the other leg doesn't creep in. Last two. One more time. And then just draw your knees in to release your lower back. And release your feet to the floor. If you feel a bit grippy in the front of your hips, just lengthen your legs out and either let them shake in and out, or if you've got your hog and it's underneath your pelvis, you will get a bigger stretch anyway across the hip flexors. That feels really nice to me. But if you haven't got a hog or you want to put a cushion under your pelvis, that would help. You just want to open out the front of your hips after they've been doing some work. And then bend your knees in again. Now, if you're using your hog, turn it over so the flat side is up and the logo is facing you. So the flat end is facing you. You're going to put your feet on it. You could do this with a ball. We did this on Thursday night with your soft ball. It's hard. Liv will tell you it's hard, but it's good. So I wouldn't do it with the little balls. It's too small. But if you've got a big one, you can put your feet on it, if not the hog. So what we're doing now is just checking how well we're able to keep the hog still or the ball still, which is quite amusing. And we're not going to do single legs, you'll be pleased to know. Arms are by your side. No cushions under the head here because we're going to roll up in shoulder bridges. Great. You're going to start with an inhalation. Be aware of putting equal pressure through the feet. Be aware how the ball responds, the hog responds, or the floor responds. And then begin to tighten your thighs. It's like a little Mexican wave. The calves kick in, the thighs kick in. You feel the pelvic tilt going on. And then see if you can roll up into a shoulder bridge. Now, if you've come onto a ball or a hog and you're thinking, flip, I'm not ready for it, get rid of it for a couple of repetitions and use it later. That's okay too. Inhale. Arms by your side to give you a bit of safety net, a bit of reassurance, and then roll back down again. Now, at the moment, we've got the hog side to side. We can turn it the other way around. Ball, you can't do anything about that. It is what it is. Inhale. Exhale. Feet, thighs, bottom, scoop, roll up. And when you get to your shoulder blades, stay here, press down with your arms. Inhale. Roll your lovely spine down. Let it feel weighty and heavy as it sinks through to the floor. Brilliant. Adding on arms and other bits and bobs. Inhale. And then it goes feet, thighs, bottom, tuck under, roll up. If you feel safe to, your arms are going to go up and over. So if you're on a ball, it's a bit of perpetual motion, isn't it? Take a breath in. See if you can keep the hog level and roll your spine back down. Articulation is key. And then when you get down, your arms come down. Now, if you've got the balls, obviously stay with that. If you're doing the floor, stay with that. That's fine. If you've got a hog, have a go at turning it around the other way. So it's a forward and back like an accelerator pedal. Get your foot on the gas. So now the question is, can we keep it level? You'll feel your hamstrings working a little bit more with it now. And I have to point my toe. I say point, but I feel like I have to point my toes down because I naturally want to just dig into my heels. Nothing wrong with it, but you're just going to try and keep it level if you can. Inhale. Exhale. Feet, thighs, bottom, tuck your pelvis, scoop and roll up. Take your arms up and over. If you can, one knee is going to go out to the side a little way. If you're on a ball, it will not be far. Come up to the top. Is your hog level? Other knee out to the side. Your ribs are soft. Up to the top. Then we go out again. And we come up to the top. One more time, out to the side. And up to the top. And then you roll your spine back down. We'll repeat it again. Ooh. Arms come down by your side. So one last time, you feel your legs working, Jan. It's hard, isn't it? Inhale. We're going again. Keep things as still as you can. Feet, thighs, bottom, imprint, rolling up. Now, if you've got your hog sideways on like this, rather than left-right wobble, front-back wobble, you could have a go at lifting a knee up, not on a ball. Well, I guess you could, but I've never managed it without squealing in cramp. And then bring that foot back down. If you're on the floor, you can join in with this as well if you wish. Fold another knee in because you've got a number of them to choose from. And then come back down. So we're trying to keep things as still as possible as we transfer the weight and float a knee in. If you wanted to take your arms up, you could. If you wanted to just squeeze one buttock and not lift the leg, but just do that weight transfer, you could do that too. So how flat and still can you keep the hog? Push down with your toes a little bit, Pauline, if you can. Yes. Great. Same for you, Cynthia. If you can, push down with your toes a bit more, so it's a bit more level. Yeah. Really good. And then when your feet are back on your hog or the floor, inhale, head central, and melt your spine down slowly. Oh, when you get down, bring one knee in, bring the other knee in, and have a stretch out of your lower back. Fabulous. So moving your hog out the way, using your ball if you wish to, you're going to roll onto one side. This is where I have to talk and not demonstrate. I find it really hard on one side. If you want to, ball under your waist. Now, normally we'd have it under the ribs. We're going to try 2 different positions and just have a play. But ball under your waist and come down. Cushion if you want to, or just head resting on the shoulder. I will prop my arm so that my microphone doesn't get fuzzy. Please let me know if you struggle to hear me. Now, you're trying to shuffle to get your legs in a straight line, ankles under knees, under hips. You're going to come down onto your side in a beautiful straight line. Keep this hand here for balance just to begin with, folks. That doesn't mean your shoulder collapses forward. You pull your shoulder back. You're going to take a breath in. You've got your natural arch. You can feel it. Your waist is lovely and long. Lift your top leg. Now, keeping your fingertip down for a moment, take the top leg forwards a little way and then pass it through the middle. Good. Ooh, take it back a little way. Pass it through the middle. If you've got the ball under your waist, you'll now be thinking, ooh, wobbly. Good. Really good. So you're just doing a straight leg, pivoting from the hip, moving from the hip socket, the leg going forwards a little way, center, and back a little way, and then center. And you'll feel how your tummy has to work. You'll feel your back working. You might want to sneak this hand in a little bit closer. You might even be able to slide it onto the side of your body so that you're not using it. You might be able to take it up, making sure your shoulders are drawn down there. Good. Woo. One more forward and back slice. And then pause. Can you lift that leg an inch higher just so you feel, ooh, bit of work in the outer thigh, yeah? Underneath leg, oh my goodness. Can we lift it an inch? Not without falling off my perch. And then relax down. Now, keep your legs straight for now. Take this arm over and use this hand and give it a good old whoop, pull. That's it. I can't talk and do it at the same time. Lift this arm up. And as you now we're thinking, forget the legs there, just straight there, just where they are. We're now thinking rib to hip. As the hand comes down, can you curl up a little way? Now, if you haven't got the ball there, it doesn't matter. You're still going to be working. You're pulling rib to hip. Your tummy's held back in a panel of lovely support. And then you go down and over. And give it a little pull to stretch. Inhale, hand to ceiling. Exhale, rib to hip. Come up. The ball kind of helps you come up, doesn't it? It makes it wobbly on the way, helps you come up. But it's hard to control it. Twice more only. Inhale. Look forwards, heart lifted. These look really good, folks. Hardly any weight in your underneath arm. And down again. And then one more time. Inhale. Engage first. Reach down. Woo. Can you come any higher? Can you come any higher? Oh. And release slowly. Marvelous. So pop this hand in front of you, bend both knees. Now move the ball up to your ribs. So it's kind of on the side of your bra strap area, on the side of your shoulder blade area. And have this arm bent with your head in your hand. So it's still in a place that's making you a bit wobbly and a bit rotational. So I want you to try and keep, obviously, the alignment good down the front. Instead of letting this hip collapse up, lengthen it away. You're going to have your knees bent, your feet in line with your tailbone. And if this gets too much, you just come down onto the floor, take the ball out. You don't need to be propped up here if your wrists are sore or your shoulders or anything. So I want you to turn your top knee out and bring it down and turn it out. So you're firing up the medial glutes. Trying to keep as still on your ball as you possibly can. Marvelous. Sort of quite comfy. We could watch Tiswas like this, couldn't we? Those of us that are old enough to remember Tiswas. What was the one that came after? The Saturday morning thing. Saturday morning swap shop. was, wasn't it? Pauline's with me. Exhale, inhale, shoulders are drawn down. Exhale, inhale. Last two. Ooh. And then you're going to go up and pulse, pulse. So it's an extra squeeze. You just soften the buttock. Just think of it going, oh, melty, melty, squeeze, melty, melty, squeeze. So you just let it go and the leg comes down, starts to, and you go, oh, catch it, not letting you. So it has a little momentary rest and then it fires up again. But it's quite yabba dabba do, isn't it? 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Well done. Roll over onto all fours. You could use a ball, you could use the floor, you could use your hog. We're going to have the hog long ways on. We're going to have our hands on it or on the floor. We're going to do our tricep push-ups. So you're trying to make sure you're not pushing with one arm more than the other. So you can be in a box position, you can be a half position, you can be in a full push-up position, but your elbows are going to tuck in while your hands are on the flat side and push the floor away. So really, it's just like being on the floor. Your hands are a bit narrower. It's like being on the floor, but you're aware if you're pushing one hand more than the other because it tips a bit. So see how still you can keep it. Pauline, have you got yours with the flat side facing you? The hog. Turn it so the flat side is facing you. Other way around, 90-degree turn. Yeah. Long ways. Yeah. Which is a bit, if you can do it, it's a bit narrower, but then you start to realize that you push with one arm more than the other. So it's sort of, it's a subtle difference. Last two. Yeah, have a brief child's pose. Sit back, bottom towards heels or a cat curl. Just have a little reach around with the shoulders and the arms go floppy. And then take a deep breath in and uncurl your lovely spine. Coming up to kneeling. We'll do the other side of our waist in a moment. If you'd like to have a go kneeling on your hog, then it's rocking forwards and back like an accelerator pedal, and you're kneeling on it. Woo-hoo-hoo. And you get your knees towards the front, but so they're not in the middle, that's cheating, but you have to keep it level, and that means you're pushing your shins down into it a little bit, because if you don't push your shins down, the knees go down and you tip. So you're trying to push your bottom part of your shin into the hog to keep it level and try and keep your feet lifted-ish off the floor. I find that very hard. Or you're just kneeling in the air on the mat. That's absolutely fine. Take your arms out in front of you. Take a breath in. And as you exhale, no turning of the head, just draw your left thumb to your armpit. Twist your body so the ribs move, but you're looking forwards. Come back to the center. And then right hand to armpit, twist your ribs and come center. So we're just doing the bow and arrow. Elbow back, ribs come back. And at the moment, because you're not moving your head, your pelvis is less likely to be joining in. And if you're on the hog, it's flipping hard to stay still. Then if you feel that you're okay with this and you're not dizzy, your shoulders are down, you're going to begin to turn your head and look where your elbows go. And then come back to the center and then turn the other way. And then back to the center. Take your time to feel the rotation, to visualize how your ribs are moving and how your pelvis is just beginning to twist with you, which is okay. We want this rotation. We want the neck and the pelvis and the waist to be able to flow in this way. And then you're going to pause and pop your arms across to your shoulders and cross your heart. If you're on a hog, sorry. Sit back into a squat, so kneeling squat, and then come back up. So if you're on the hog, you're trying to keep it as still as you can. Your bottom hinges out, your chest then lifts. I'll just do it without the hog. If you're getting tired, by the way, on the hog, please come off it because it is tiring on your legs. So you're going down with your hips and up, and then stick your bottom out. So it's a kneeling squat. Drive your hips up and forward, squeeze your pelvis forwards when you get to the top. Beautifully done. We've only got 2 to go. Nice. We'll be getting up out of chairs when we're 90, won't we? And then pause and come down onto all fours. You can move your hogs and things out the way, or any balls, touch your toe under. First start with a calf stretch, one leg back, push your heel away. If you don't like being on your wrists, come onto your forearms, but you push that heel away. So I'm just going to quickly show you this and then the other leg, so that you could stay with a calf stretch, if that's your preference. And then those of you that want to convert it into downward facing dog. Remember, we're taking the pressure out of the wrists by straightening them. That might mean bending your legs, and it's okay to have your legs bent. Walk it through with the heel toe, rolling through the foot. So you can stay with your calf stretch on the floor, or you can do downward dog and get calves and hamstrings having a good old stretch. Release your head, make that lovely hairpin V shape rather than a rainbow. And then release yourself back down onto all fours. If you've got a hog and you'd like to use it, then hands on the hog, rocking forwards and back accelerator style. You've got hands under shoulders, knees under hips. We're going to keep the hog as still as we can, and then we're going to do some swimming together. So take a breath in, exhale, float an arm forwards, lift a leg out behind you. Slide them back down, they land at the same moment. Other side, arm and leg. How level can you keep things? And your pelvis, your shoulders, your face, you're looking down at the floor. We're doing opposite arm, opposite leg. Now, you wouldn't think that this would be any harder, would you particularly? But when you've got your hands on the hog, you can see if one side is still sort of twisting a little bit, whether it tends to rock. So for me, when my left hand is on the hog, it tips more. Whereas when my right hand is on the hog, I am able to keep it level really easily. You can do that as well, Pauline. How you had it before, yeah. That's another variation. Lovely, really nice head posture, everybody. Back of your neck's lovely and long, looking down at the floor. Your shoulders are away from your ears, looks great. Straighten out that knee at the back so that you feel the kneecap tighten, the thigh tighten, and the leg draw up. Ooh, twice more. Slow and controlled back stimulation. And then hands wide on the hog or on the floor. Are we ready? Second set of triceps. You choose whether you want box or 3/4 or full. Elbows in and push. Inhale, lower. Exhale. So it wants to be smooth, and just feel how beautifully you can control it. What do you notice going on in your body? Stimulating our bone density. Fantastic. Engaging our core. Last 2. And sitting back again, or child's pose or cat curl. You can hold your hands on the hog and just rest your fingers over the end. And it's quite nice because it gives you some height with your arms, and then you can let your head hang between those arms. And breathe. Take a deep breath in. Big sigh out. Inhale again. And exhale to uncurl your beautiful spine. Marvellous. Now, one more set of kneeling squats and kneeling twists. If you're using a hog, turn it long ways on. And kneeling on it this way round now. Oh. So it's rocking from left to right. You've got more room for your shin, which is good. So if you get your knee right to the front of it, you've got more shin that can go on it. Hope you've got a safe environment around you, Pauline. Not got anything nearby to land on. So if you're kneeling on the floor, that's fine too. Push your shins down, relax. If you need a rolled up towel under your ankle, if your toes don't point very well, then you can do that too. So take your arms up and out in front of you. Drop your shoulders down. Good. Inhale. No head turn yet. Just left thumb to armpit, elbow comes back. Let your ribs twist, but not your hips. Come to the center. Inhale. And now right. Elbow back. Feel the ribs opening. Come back to the middle. And then change arms. So bow and arrow, thoracic rotation. Staying nice and upright and tall. There's a string from the top of your head guiding you to the ceiling. And then if you'd like to, begin to turn your head so that your shoulder is a bit freer to move. And notice your hips will be joining in, and that's good. So we're a continual sort of spiraling action. Hair looks nice, Elaine. Have you had it chopped? Elaine Clark, yeah. Looks very sassy. Exhale as you go. I'm getting to see the back of it when you turn your head. So can you feel on the hog, it's a bit more wobbly this way round? When you turn, it's a bit more wibbly wobbly, isn't it? Or it is for me anyway. And then pause, cross your arms across your chest, sit your bottom back. It's a kneeling squat and drive up. So just like we would in standing, bum goes back first, push your hips forwards. Bottom goes back first. Now, if you feel able to, start to add in a little bit of arm work. So you're pressing into your shins and bottom and you're oozing. And as the arms go forwards, they'll probably just naturally stop at horizontal. But if you could get to here, the bottom, and take your arms higher, you'll feel a chain of back work going on. You'll feel just below your ribs going, oh, hello, and then lift. So you're now firing up the posterior chain, doing your back extensors. And the arms aren't particularly heavy, are they? But it works. And if you wanted to, you could do this holding some little weights. Sit back or holding the ball. If you've got a ball handy, you could press it and that would make your shoulders work a bit more. Do. Slow and smooth. Good. Last 3. Squeeze up. Push your hips forwards. Last 2. Very nice. Squeezing up, hips push forwards. Wonderful. One more time. And putting your various bits down and away. Got indentations all across my mat. And then just to add insult to injury, final set of push-ups, but this time with your hands really wide. Oh, yes, we can. So we're going to do chest ones, which means you can usually get a little bit lower. Most people find these a bit easier. So fingers are pointing forwards, shoulders, hands are off the side of the mat, and then you're going to bend your elbows, lower your chest between your hands, and take your head in front of your fingers. Inhale down, and exhale, lift up. Brilliant. So you're now strengthening the bones in your wrists, in your elbows, in your shoulders, in your arms. That's good, Pauline. Brilliant. Let me see another 4. You've got it. Really nice. Keep the head in line. Don't let it start to hang as you get tired. Good, Lynn. Come on, Anna. Woo. I've lost count. I think we've got one more. And then sit back and have a rest. Brilliant. Maybe child's pose, cat curl, relax your fingers, relax your wrists. Take a deep breath in. And then uncurl in your own time. Grab your ball if you've got one, or a cushion if you prefer, or nothing. And you're going to start on your other side. So if you've got your knees curled up, get the ball in your waist. So it's sort of snuggled down to your pelvis here. Then go down sideways. You're going to straighten out your legs and glance down, check that they are ankle, knee, hip, spine, waist, shoulders, all in line. Come down onto the side. If you've got a very full ball, you might have to let some air out. Oh. So starting with our hands down, shoulders also down. Yes. So think of your shoulder blades in the back of your pelvis being against a wall. You've got this natural arch here. Your waist length is good and even on both sides, but you've got this wobbly thing under the side of your body. Take a breath in. Begin to tighten your knee size, engage, and then lengthen the leg and lift it to about hip height. Take it forwards a little way, moving from the hip. Bring it to the center. Fire up your bottom to take it behind you without leaning forwards, and center. A small slice forwards with your leg and center above, and then behind you, and then center. Relax your neck forward. So you might need a cushion between your shoulder and your head. You might want to just bend your arm. Brilliant. Now, how are we doing on this side? Dare we sneak the hand in a little bit? Dare we take it off? You're welcome to take your arm up if you'd like to. Shoulders drawn down. Anybody got one side wobblier than the other? My underneath leg's doing a nice little work here to stabilize me. That's called cheating, isn't it? I don't know if it is really. I think it's just a natural response to a wobble. Brilliant. Just twice more. Think about this, not the distance, is it? It's the control on the way, how little we are twisting it. You feel your rib cage responding and wanting to twist forwards and back with you, but we're not letting it. Last time. Now pause in the middle, lift it a bit higher if you can. Ooh. And then can we begin to think about lifting our underneath leg? My upper body wants to come up with me as a counterbalance. Try and leave your ribs down, leave your head down. Yeah. Try not to use the other end as a counterbalance. Woo-hoo-hoo. Have you got your underneath leg in the air? And release. Bend your knees. Push yourself up. Now moving the ball under your rib cage. So it's more underneath your bra strap slash armpit area, but it's still on the side of your body. And you rest on it, pop your head in your hands. This elbow doesn't come forwards. The elbow is also on that line. So you're not creating a triangulation point. It's a posh word, isn't it, for a Monday morning? Waist long, neutral spine, knees crooked, feet in line with your tailbone. Are we ready, Rachel? Turn your top knee out. She's turned her back on me. Looks like we've fallen out. Top knee out. Oh, nice. Little bit of clam work, little bit of hip work, little bit of bottom work. This low level hold to stop any rotation. Good. So at any point you want to make this harder, you could, of course, tie a band around your legs. As they all scramble for their bands. Squeezing, exhaling as you go. Medial glutes firing up. Careful not to roll back, Linda. It just looks like you might be at the top, dipping your hip back, possibly. Difficult to tell. That looks better. Ooh, See if you can just get that extra couple of millimeters at the top. 3 more. Exhale, 2 more. Now go out and stay here and smile about it. And go squeeze, soften, squeeze, melt, tighten, melt. Feel the contrast of that tension and not tension. Enjoy the not tension. Squeeze, soften, squeeze, soften, squeeze. You're going to be lopsided, Carol. Squeeze, soften. 4 more. 3 more. Keep going if you want to / need to, or relax down. Ooh. And then take the nasty ball out. Coming onto your side, head in hands, a little twist. Opening the book so your knees are together. Your spine is in neutral before you set off and you don't curl into a ball. Look out in front of you, heart up, and then let's twist. Open and release. And then bringing it back with a tummy contraction. So not going excessively far if you've got bone density issues. Don't force into a twist. Just sort of roll into one. Let your body weight take you as far as it goes, but don't then kind of shove or force the last bit. If you want to, you can bend your top knee up, cross your underneath leg on top of that foot. So your top knee is the one that's bent higher. The underneath leg acts as a pin for your ankle, and then glues it down as you twist. And you'll get an extra pull in your hip, which will be just where we've worked doing the clam. Three more. You can move your arm position if you prefer. You can take your arms up and over in a bow and arrow style. You can do a full rainbow, circling round on the floor. When you finish that one, roll onto your back. No rush, just take your time. So remember which side you were on for twisting, because obviously we need to do the other side. And I'd like you to take your feet quite wide, so they're just sort of almost off the edge of the mat. It depends obviously on your hips and legs, doesn't it? But I've got my heels on the mat, my toes are pointing outwards in a V shape. So my toes are actually off the mat. Start neutral. Inhale, we're going to work the abs a little bit more. We're going to tuck the pelvis under. So you're now tilted. Pubic bone is tipped up. Back of your waist is towards the mat. We're seeing how well you can sustain that. Relax your arms, relax your shoulders. Now you could have a cushion under your head if you needed to here. If you felt your head was dangling or you were lifting the chin too much, or just head on the floor. I want you to see if you can keep the sensation of being glued, of your waist and your lower back being held on the mat. And then imagine your right knee. I want you to draw it up to the ceiling like a rainbow. The leg stays bent, and draw your knee towards your left shoulder. So you've actually made it easier to keep the pelvic tilt. It's gone in a diagonal rainbow up and over. Yep. So your foot, it's just like a knee lift, but it's on the diagonal line. Now take that foot back down. So it's wide, 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 but keep your imprint. Left knee to right shoulder. So you might not want to come too far in, Pauline, in terms of hips, and obviously don't pinch, but you can still do the diagonal line. And then take your foot back down without losing pelvic tilt. Diagonally. Right knee comes over towards left shoulder. It goes down and you maintain the imprint. So you're coming across your body in a diagonal line. Does that make sense? Is everybody okay with that? Let me just have a little look what's going on. So right knee, Carol, bring it up towards your left armpit. So it's coming across the line of your belly. Yes. And then back down. Just almost letting the foot trail like a trailing shooting star. So think of leading with the knee and the foot just trailing in the same wake. Yeah. Now it starts out pretty easy, doesn't it? You think, well, all we're doing is lifting the leg. That's no big deal. Can you feel your abs working? Mm-hmm. If you would like to make it harder, and if you feel appropriate, hands go behind your head. You're going to turn diagonally, armpit towards knee, and then down. So you carry on with the same diagonal line leg, but you're now adding an upper body twist. Now, for those of us with any bone density issues, and that could be any of us could have bone density issues and not even know. I'm not looking for you to do a huge crunching action. I'm looking for you to just sink your sternum and curl up with your head, neck, and shoulders, but your head is sort of pushing into your hands almost. It's heavy, it's pushing back. And that means that you're not crunching the front of your spine very much at all. And you're certainly not loading it with gravity like a roll down would be in standing. You're just curling up a little bit and down. And easy to focus on the upward movement, as you do knee to armpit, armpit to knee. But I'd like you to focus on the way down so that you can still land slowly and don't lose the imprint as your foot does the last 2 inches. Now, I don't know about you, but I can feel these. Tune into the breath. Exhale. You can leave your head down if you wish. Inhale. Control the landing. Keep the tilt. Exhale. Control the landing. Really nice, Viv. Woo! Let me have a little nosy. So whether you're doing leg, arms, or both is fine. Yes, Linda, good range of movement. Oh, yeah, I can almost hear you grunting. I can see Lynn's face grimacing twice more. Really nice. Keep the imprint on the way down. One more time. Exhale. Careful here as you imprint. Foot comes down at the same time as your upper body. And relax. Slide your legs away. Have a full body stretch. Was that surprisingly hard? It's nice to stretch though, isn't it, afterwards? And then rolling onto your other side for your twist. Remember, we started with heads in hands. We had our knees bent up together. Have I missed something? Oh, yes. Thank you. The arm sweep. Oh, we're going to have to do that then. Back onto your other side. Thank you. You've got the ball under your ribs in a straight line. We did the waist work, didn't we? We did about 6 or so. Yeah. Lying in a beautiful straight line on your second side, arm above. Oh, I probably avoided it because this is my wobbly side. It's like, no. Okay. Then we'll do the twist on the other side. Take your arm over. Oh, my life. The ball is under your ribs. Stretch. And then bring your arm up and over, paint the ceiling, and draw rib to hip. So the ball helps to push you up, which is jolly nice of it, but it creates wobble as it does that. So you're having to then manage it with your core. Come back down and sweep your arm over. If you haven't got a ball there, don't worry, you're still working. You're going to lift up. You're going to draw your rib down towards your pelvis. Please look in front of you. You're not pushing into this underneath arm. Try and lighten it. And then up and over. Have a little stretch. Pull, pull, pull on the wrist. Feel the stretch through the side of the waist. And then up. Armpit down, rib down to hip. Soften your neck. Lighten your underneath arm. And then release. You've just got 2 more. Reach. Armpit and rib come down, 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 down. The arm underneath is light. And then over we go. Oh, inhale as you lift. Pelvic floor engaging, scooping up. Reach. Lighten the underneath arm. Have a go at lifting it, can you? And release. Well done. And then bend your knees. So make sure you're doing your twist on your other side. So for me, it's this way round if I face you, but you might be facing the other way. It's fine. Brilliant. Thank you, Helen. That was an important one to remember. Head in hands. Knees together. Natural arch. Spine beautifully stacked. Waist lovely and long, not collapse. And then in your own time, a little melt. It's come back to you, Viv. She's throwing the ball away and it comes back rolling back. So you realise your floors aren't level. So generally speaking, I suggest an inhale as you lift. And that's so that as you melt into it, you can exhale, the lungs empty, so the ribs compress and soften. Whereas if you were here in a big open twist, inhaling, your ribs would expand and lift. No bad thing. But it's when we exhale, we get the rotation. So generally inhale to lift, exhale to twist and melt and sink your rib cage. And then if you'd like to, stay with that or bend your top knee up and cross your ankle. So the underneath leg is straight and goes on top of the first leg. That just pins your hips down. And then you can carry on with your head in hands twist. Or you can bow an arrow. Or you can do a big rainbow round with your arm to your bottom and back again. Letting your head turn. So you've done some good arm work today and some swimming on some wobbly surfaces and some kneeling squats and some waist and some tummy and some more tummy. A little bit of calf releasing and stretching. So from next week onwards, I'll probably start pushing you along again a little bit because we'd got so good before Christmas, hadn't we? It felt like we were motoring. But then we had a sort of obviously a break and getting back into routine and things in the new year. So I've just been sort of mobilising and helping you to tune back into things, shoulder bridges and all the basics. So we'll build it back up again next week onwards. And that means you can modify, you can go at your own pace, but those that want to work a bit harder can as well. So when you get back onto your side, use your hands to push yourself up. If you want to sit on a block or a cushion, you can. If you can get the soles of your feet together, do. If not, you could have your knees like that or your legs out like that. Just going to do a little bit of a hip opener and a back stabilizer. So if you do this butterfly shape, put your hands, your thumb across the base of your sole of your foot and your fingers wrapped around the top, like you would in yoga. And I think of my feet as like a book. So if you feel you're sitting up here tall, great. If you feel you've immediately, you know, your hips are tight or your back is tight and you've gone like that, then I'd rather you were sitting on something. It will make a big difference for you and give you some space and help you to sit up tall. So you're going to inhale and then keep upright and just turn your feet. Open the book. Nothing else. We're not worrying about hips or knees. Not interested in those. We're thinking feet. So you're just literally leaving the binding of the book together. And, oh, I really want to read the words right in the corners. And as you do that, pull your heart forwards, your chest up, let your shoulder blades slide down your back. Breathe. Now, normally what happens is as you focus on your feet, and you might have one ankle looser than the other, you might have one foot where you're thinking, oh, I can see the sole of that foot a bit more than that one. Just track up your body. And if you've got one side, you think, turning more than the other, look at the one that's maybe a bit tighter. Go in your mind, go into your body and notice what the knee and the hip are like on that one that's maybe not turning out as much. See if you can relax them. So my right foot doesn't turn out quite so much, but when I actually take my attention inside, what I feel is my right hip is tighter. And it will go further, but it just doesn't relax. It's sort of gripping for whatever reason. So send some breath to the hips and the knees. Encourage them to soften. And then if you can, I'm not going to curl over and look down because that will be squashing the front of the spine, which is what I said we don't want to do. But see if you can hinge forwards from the hips with a flatter back and push your elbows into your knees or calves or wherever. So you're trying not to round the spine. You're trying to lift your chest up and forwards, flat back hairpin, a bit like downward dog. It's that arse out, chest up feel. So tail out, heart lifted, and a gentle nudge into the thighs or the knees or the calves. Can you feel that? Are your hips resisting? Come on, naughty hips. One more deep breath in. Exhale out. Release, come up. Carefully use your hands to bring your knees to vertical. Hands now going behind you, feet now apart. And I want you to take, with your feet quite close to your bottom, right knee across your body. Yes, you can come off your hog or cushion if you want to. Right knee across your body and let it go forwards. So now you've got internal rotation of the hip. Come up to the center. Let's try the other knee. Does this correlate with the hip that was tight on the other side? Is there any interesting pattern? And then lift. And notice as you let your knee go across, whether you're lifting the weight off that buttock at all. And up. And again, glue your hips to your buttocks to the floor so they don't sneakily rise on one side. We'll do it one more time. One knee over. Chest square on. Can you feel? I can feel my body twisting. So my knee's gone across and my shoulder girdle wants to twist with it. Try and stay square on with your shoulder girdle and your chest. Let that leg get heavier. Trust it. It's a very deep socket. Breathe. Have you got some weight in that hip? In the buttock, is it sinking to the mat? With a deep breath in. And sigh. One more deep breath in. Let it go. If it's sore, bend your arms, lean back to lift the leg. And then the other side again, foot close to bottom. Leg turns in. Watch the shoulder girdle hasn't twisted with it. So shoulders square to me, chest up. Oh, can you let it go? Feel both buttocks and cheeks grounded. The leg gradually trusting you and getting heavier. And a deep breath in. And again, if it's a bit awkward, bend your elbows, lean back to then lift the leg up. Shake them out. Might used to have I think it was a physio tutor, might have been called Jeff. And he always did this. So after they'd done an exercise or after they'd done a physio sort of treatment or assessment or whatever, he'd say, ease off, like this, and he would get them to waggle their legs. So if ever he missed it, 'cause this was his phrase that he used all the time, they'd say, what about the ease off, Jeff? What about the ease off, Jeff? So now whenever I do this, I'm thinking, what about the ease off, Jeff? And I wasn't even there. I mean, it's crazy. Anyway, what about the ease off, Jeff? I'll have to ask Mike if he remembers, because I remember it. Fantastic. Well done, everybody.